Welcome, everybody, to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. My name is Ross Benjamin of RBWins.com. Welcome to the Winner's Circle Sports Betting channel, brought to you by GamblersWorld.com. Today, I'm joined, as usual, by Mr. Jesse Shule of JesseShule.com and Sean Higgs of PicksandParleys.net. Gentlemen, we're going to be talking Game 5 of the NBA playoffs, NBA Eastern Conference Finals, between Boston and Miami. And much to these two gentlemen's chagrin, there is a Game 5 because they like Miami in Game 4, and I didn't. So I have to rub that in a little bit because they give
Ross,
me they give me a hard time.
Did well. Game 4.
Yeah,
come on, Ross.
I can use all the accolades I can because my confidence has been devastated over the last 20 years in this business.
We get that. That's a daily occurrence sometime in this business.
Absolutely. It's a very, very
ups and downs.
That's not true, folks. I was joking about that, but it's certainly, you're right, Sean. It's a humbling business. Every time you think you're on top of the world, this business humbles you. So it goes with the territory, and we keep plugging along. Jesse, how's everything going, my man?
Another rough day at the office for me, but I'm taking it in stride. As long as my kids think I'm a superhero, that's good enough for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Been stuck in a little bit of a 50-50 quandary myself over the last week or so. But Sean, always a pleasure to see you, my man. How's everything?
Good. Bounce back yesterday, 4-0 in baseball and 4-1 overall. I did drop my hockey under, but that
was a tough loss on the hockey under. Jesse had the hockey under as well, I believe.
Yeah, I did.
That tying goal with like 3 minutes to go, and wow, and then Florida wins it with 4 seconds left. Wow, what a way to lose a series, right? You tied a game with 3 minutes left, and then you get a marginal penalty call with 57 seconds left in the game.
But wasn't that all 4 games though? Like all 4 games were like that,
all
right?
4 1-goal games. Yes,
they were all tough fights there for Carolina.
Yeah. I mean, there's a fine line between being swept and pulling off a sweep yourself.
Yeah, they say, a fine line between winning and losing. The finish line.
And as John Muckler said many, many years ago, when Buffalo beat Montreal in 4 games and 3 of them went overtime and the other was a 1-goal game, pretty similar to what we saw in that series. It was the closest sweep I've ever seen. So there you go. Anyway,
that's a Yogi Berraism right there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Muck was good for a couple, great Hall of Fame coach, former coach of the Edmonton Oilers and executive in the league, general manager of the Buffalo Sabres. Anyway, we're talking NBA today. And right now, as we speak, the Boston Celtics are an 8-point favorite and totals 215.5. We are recording at 10 a.m. Eastern time on Thursday the 24th. The game goes tonight. So keep that in mind, folks. This line may be subject to change, or lines may be subject to change. Boston minus 4.5 in the first half, 109.5. Team totals, Boston 111.5 and Miami 103.5. So several options here for us to choose from. And why not just get her going? And we have nothing else we need to talk about today. Any other topics you guys want to bring up before we move on? Jesse?
I'm dying to get into it, Ross. I mean, this is the main event for tonight. So let's get into it.
Sean, who's usually shy, how are you, my friend?
I'm a little wallflower. What's there to say? We got a big game here in Boston, right? I love baseball, but let's be honest. This is Boston was supposed to cakewalk over these guys, and here we are in a elimination game again. So.
Well, since I got you going and since you're wound up, Sean, keep her going.
And I'm sure Jessica thinks the same as I here. We're not just blindly betting kind of trends of like things have never happened because they never happen till they happen. But again, I'm getting 8 points with a team that has won 3 games in this series already. And as much as Celtics pulled away there, the Heat took a little lead there in that game. So I'm not sold on Boston. Now, Boston wins this going away again. I'll be honest with you. I'll be a little leery about taking the Heat at home because now you got a little pressure on. Now it's kind of like, wow, are we going to really choke this away after being up 3-0? And the Celtics are like, I told you we're good. It just took us a while to get our flow, and we overlooked you. But I'm going to take the 8 points today. And I looked at a little Tatum over his threes, and it's a 3.5 minus. I think it was a plus 120. I can't do that. He's only hit that once in the series. I'm like, you know what? It's too sketchy. No really props for me there. Sometimes I like to find one for the show here. I didn't find anything. I'm just going to stick with the Heat plus the 8. I got to take them here.
Heat plus the 8 over the Celtics in game 5. And Sean is saying that, you're talking about a team that's up 3-1 and they're getting 8 points. Why not? And Jesse, do you agree with, I'm sure that you're going to agree with that. Something tells me that you're going to agree with his standpoint. So let the man crush begin and go ahead and say, I agree with you, Sean. You're the best that ever lived. You're the best in sliced bread. My name is Jesse Jewell, and I want to be just like you. Go ahead.
I don't think I've ever said anything like that. But
okay. Maybe
I mean, let's face it. Sean's a pretty good handicapper, perhaps a great handicapper. So do we
now we take it easy. I'm all right. I'm just
so if we have a few things in common, I mean, so be it. But
when it wins, great. when it loses, it's my fault. And Jesse's.
I know you both can cook. It's Sean is Mr. Mom and Jesse's the head chef in his household. So there are.
And I don't know Sean that well, but I'm pretty sure we can both eat as well.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. For sure.
All three of us when it comes to that. Anyway. Jesse.
Okay, so no surprise. Of course, I agree with Sean on the points. Of course, I agree with everything he said. But anybody who's already tuned in, how boring would it be for me to tell you what I've already told you in every other show that you've watched? So in the spirit of trying to keep it fresh, I've come up with something absolutely different for everybody because. We don't want to bore the listeners. I got Grant Williams over 6.5 points for the points total. It's very juiced up because Grant Williams has played 29 minutes in the last 2 games. He's starting to play a bigger role. Of course, he missed a game, but he's 6 of 9 from 3-point range in the last 2 games. Scored 14 points in game 4, 12 points in game 3. Perhaps you guys are familiar with Grant Williams, but he's one of the best 3-point shooters in the NBA, hitting over 40% from beyond the arc. He's in a bit of a groove right now. The Celtics were hitting their threes in game 4. I mean, you think Mazzulla is going to come out and have that strategy again to shoot from beyond the arc? I personally think so. And Grant Williams will be a part of that. And 6.5 points is a really low number. So my bet is going to be on Grant Williams over 6.5 points. It's juiced to minus 150, which you guys aren't going to like that much. But I also like his PRA and yeah, Grant Williams to have a big game in a loss for the Celtics.
What's his points, rebounds, assists there, Jess?
It's floating between 11.5 and 12.5, depending on the book. 11.5 would be juiced. But
22, 17, and 13 the last 3 games. He didn't get anything. So I like it. I in 150, yeah. I could see he had 4 of 6 and 2 of 3 and 1 of 2. So he's just taking more shots. He's more part of the offense.
So Sean, would you say that's equal to your rushing touchdowns Super Bowl prop?
Yes.
At 160?
Yes. Yeah. I can step out on the ledge.
Jesse try to justify the juice.
I know, but that's a good, because Roz, like, when I look at a prop, it's kind of like, let's be honest, most people, when they tune in, they want like everything. They want the favorite, they want the big name, they want the over. So when you kind of go down the line and find somebody off the grid, laying a number there you're laying that because the guy's making a number. No, they're like, this guy, we've seen the game plan the last 2 days. He's getting his shots. So that's a fine one for me. I don't mind laying a 150 with Jesse there.
Yeah. The only thing that bothers me in a prop like that, laying 150, is usually the juice won't go that high, right? I mean, it's for a prop bet like that. But you guys say, you gave me a couple examples of that happening, but it tells me the books don't want to come off that 6.5 and go to 7 because that's a lot of juice for a prop, but as long as it wins, Jesse's been notorious with these picks that make me a little squeamish and uncomfortable about laying juice. He wins. I can't remember the last time he lost like that. So, don't have a strong opinion in that regard, but I back my man Jesse anytime, and I'll back my man Sean anytime as well. As a matter of fact, I'll put
He's
that
efficient. 4 of 7, 57%, 5 of 7, 71%, 4 of 6, 66%. He's on the floor, he's going to score.
Yeah. So here's the thing with me. I'm having a terrific NBA playoffs, and it makes me feel good to say that, folks. So don't when you put in the hard work that we put in, and you reap the rewards of your work. It's very, regardless of what vocation you're in or what you do for a living, it's rewarding. And the bottom line is that I use algorithms a lot during the playoffs. And basically, I have a database here at my office, which I could run all the results back from 1990. And I know a lot of people get confused with the difference between an algorithm, a betting system, and a trend. A trend just applies to a specific team in a specific situation. The Boston Celtics are, and again, I don't know, I'm just throwing this out there. I don't know this to be true. The Boston Celtics are haven't lost 5 games in a row all year. So they're 5-0 after a 4-game losing streak. Basically what they were going into game 4. But an algorithm has to do with every team in a specific situation. So it's not confined to just one team. So I look at NBA playoffs in a different entity than the NBA regular season. And anybody who tells you that algorithms, and I'm sorry, I'm going to say this right out, and it might not be part of your arsenal, like Jesse or Sean, but you'll never hear Jesse or Sean tell me that betting systems or betting algorithms are meaningless, because they're not. Okay. And anybody who says they are, to me, they just don't want to do the work. Now, having said that, I just want to be sure that I'm not accusing anybody of being lazy because they don't use an algorithm. I'm accusing anybody who comes out and says, when I make use that as part of my analysis, and it's happened over the last couple of weeks, that means nothing. Algorithm test or betting angles mean nothing. Well, you're sorely wrong, because if you were right, I wouldn't be winning at the rate I'm at. 35-22 right now in the NBA playoffs, by the way. So that's 62%, folks. All right, so here's my algorithm for this game. Since the 2009 playoffs, any game 5, home favorite of between 6 and 12.5 points, which Boston is. And they're down 3-1 in the series like Boston is. They've gone 9-0 straight up at 8-1 against the spread since 2009. So it's a sizable parameter I'm using toward the home favorite between 6 and 12.5 points. So you can't say, okay, well, Boston's -8, and yeah, they're a home favorite at 12.5 or less, but how many games did they cover as a 1, 2, and 3-point favorite? They wouldn't have covered as an 8. Well, I sort of curtail that by saying 6 to 12.5. That's the parameter I ran. And it's a pretty high. And the only loss in that sequence in those 9 games came back in 2013 when the Nuggets -7.5 won 107-100 to Golden State. They failed to cover by 0.5 point. So it's pretty close to being perfect. And, so we'll see. I as opposed to these gentlemen, I'm going to continue on with my Boston role here, at least for one more game. I'm going to take the Boston Celtics here. I'm going to lay the 8 over Miami, and I'm not going to look back. I'm not going to hesitate, and I'll live with the result, whatever that may be. You guys' thoughts?
Well, Ross, you were right the last show. You might well be right this show. I don't want to criticize your way of thinking, because,
Yeah.
we all know it could play out either way. But I will say that I've heard a statistic that the Heat were the number 1 team in the league this year when getting 8 or more points. They covered 64% of the time.
Now that's a team. Let me specify though. That's a team trend. That's not a betting angle.
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm listening.
So apparently they covered the spread 64% of the time when they were getting eight points or more, which was the best ATS trend for in the NBA when getting 8+ points. You know, I don't like these trends. This is not how I do it, but I think they're worth paying attention to. I look at them. I'm interested in them. I weigh that. You know, I'm not on your pick, but I wouldn't. I'm not going to be shocked if it wins.
Yeah. All right. Well, fair enough. And again, let me clarify to the folks out there. Jesse just gave you an example of Miami being a very good away or underdog of 8 or more, and I would say 99% of those were on the road, obviously. But the bottom line is that's a team trend. It only applies to Miami. In my betting angle, just to be clear, excuse me, it goes back to the 2009 playoffs. It involves all teams that are a home favorite of 6 to 12 and a half, excuse me, in a game 5 that are down 3 games to 1. And there's some significance in that because those teams had their backs up against the wall. They were all laying a hefty number. They were all at home, and they just about all came through with the exception of the one game that didn't cover by 0.5 point. So there's a big difference between a trend and a betting angle. Sean, your thoughts?
The trends and angles to me like that, when we talk about, I say, because sometimes people come in, they might be like, well, this has happened. It's 14-2. I'm like, well, did you bet those 16? Do you have that money in your pocket? And I don't mind trends, especially baseball. You know, I'm a team starts winning 3, 4, 5 in a row. I'm going to bet them. I'm going to stay away if losing teams. As you mentioned, your angle right there. How do you go wrong with that? It's teams in a good spot. But I kind of throw that out during playoff time because I look at them as kind of standalone games.
Yeah.
And for me in this spot, I had to take the 8 because the teams outplayed them 3 times. Miami's outplayed them 3 times. I got 3 wins. But on the flip side, I look at it like in the games 1 and 2, you see a 7-8, you're like, holy cat, are begging to take Miami. Celtics are going to win this going away. I can't talk somebody off of taking the Celtics. They're the better team. That's why they've been 7, 8, and 8-point faves and 3.5-point faves on the road.
Yeah.
But they haven't delivered. But again, for that, again, I'm with both of you on both of the trend side and the angle side. But I take it as an individual spot in some spots. And this is one where I'm like, I'm getting 8 with a team that's won 3 of the 4. And in the one they lost, they were there for about 3 quarters. They battled even back. I hate going against. I like going wrong on the same side because then it's like,
I know
you're all thinking the same wavelength. But then I can see yours. I can see the Boston side.
It would be a boring show then, right?
Yeah,
Jesse? It would be a boring show.
Well, let's talk about Jimmy Butler. I mean, we haven't even mentioned Jimmy Butler yet.
Yeah, the only guy that Jesse likes more than Sean.
Have you guys seen the pictures of Jimmy Butler after Game 4 against the Knicks when he had that smile on his face, kind of like, oh.
And he was going like this, yeah.
He was like, you know what, boys, I got you right where I want you. Well, he gave that exact same look in Game 4 in Miami. There's memes that show both the expressions. They're exactly the same, and you know. That's not very scientific at all. I mean, Ross's take is very scientific. My take is very unscientific, but I like my take better.
Do you think the Sixers are upset they let Jimmy Butler go unsigned?
Absolutely. I mean, Sean, I'm a Raptors fan. I was. There's pictures of me on the internet wearing Raptors gear. I was watching
Tracy
that
McGrady
Kawhi.
Games?
No, that Kawhi shot that hit the rim and then went in. And then the Raptors won the championship that year. I bet on the Raptors over the Warriors at like massive odds. So I mean that really enhanced my career, that whole run and series. But Jimmy Butler was a problem. I mean, Jimmy Butler was equal to Kawhi in that series. Everybody knew it. He's been that guy ever since. Jimmy Butler is essentially Kawhi Leonard. He is the quintessential playoff performer. He's a beast. and it was apparent to anybody in the know at the time. And yeah, I mean, you can give MVPs to Embiid and this and that, but yeah, the fact that they gave up Jimmy Butler, they gave up any chance of winning a championship.
Yeah. So
Do you think he's a Hall of Famer? People are like, oh, he's a Hall of Famer based on.
well,
like
he's
this
on his
playoff.
way. I mean, you
I
know,
mean, if he does it one more time, one more postseason run like this, and I don't know how you keep him.
yeah. I mean, let's put it this way: would your opinion be solidified as him being a Hall of Famer if Miami wins it all?
No,
I'd
I don't
say
know.
yes.
I don't.
Absolutely, guaranteed.
The guy, I mean, he plays 65 games a year. He averages 20 points a game. I mean, just because he shows up in the playoffs, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, just because, like it's nothing.
But he's
just
got
to show
one-
up in the playoffs. It's nothing.
There was one guy in
title.
baseball that used to show up in the playoffs all the time, and they called him Mr. October, Reggie Jackson. And
The guy also had 600 home runs.
yeah, that's true.
He's not a 20-point a game scorer.
Well, I mean, the bottom line is this. Let me ask you this, Sean. Jesse has a theory on facial expression. So Jimmy Butler's facial expression is his ticket to Miami covering this game. Do you have little nuances like that you look for?
No. I just, it's like for the
I
Hall
love
of
you,
Fame
brother.
baseball.
I love it, Jess.
Is it
I
the
couldn't
Hall
help.
of Very Good? Is it the Hall of Statistics? Is it the Hall of guys who were the best at their in their
No,
in their
but the
era?
playoffs mean more, Sean. Every home run or goal or 3-point game winner that you hit in the playoffs should mean 10 times more than what you did that when you did that in the regular season. So yeah, I mean,
the Hall of Fame is sort of the Hall of Fame is sort of like wager talk, it's who you know and not what you know, So anyway, all right. So let's go over that again. Grant Williams over 6.5 points at money line odds of -150. Sean, he likes the Heat plus the 8. Ross likes Boston minus the 8. And hopefully, folks, I know there's a conflicting opinions the last two games because we only got one game to cover. But at the end of the day, it's we hope that no matter what our opinions are, that our analysis teaches you something you didn't know yesterday. So let's hope that's the case. And we all can't win. We went 2-1 on the show yesterday, by the way. So, and 2-0 in baseball on Monday's video for Tuesday's games. So we're doing awfully well here, guys. And we have nobody to thank but you people out there who are watching the show. Our subscribers, we appreciate each and every one of you. We appreciate your comments. And if you have not subscribed to the Winner's Circle Sports Betting channel, take a second to do so, folks. You see a WC button or a WC logo, right in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. That stands for Winner's Circle. Just click on that. A subscribe button will come on. Click on that and then hit your notification bell when you're in your YouTube settings, and you'll be notified immediately upon any of our Winner's Circle Sports Betting podcasts being published on this channel. All right, Jesse, real quickly, we're running short on time again, as usual. But Jesse, tell the folks what you may have coming up this week and how you've been doing of late.
Well, I got 5 plays available for today at sportsmemo.com, and you can get all those picks with a package deal for $19.99. You want to follow me on Twitter at Jesse Schul, on YouTube at Jesse Schul Picks, and you want to see me at jesseschul.com.
Very good. That's Jesse Schul at jesseschul.com. And all kidding aside, folks, Jesse's one of the top handicappers in the world. And so is Sean Higgs over at picksandparleys.net. Sean, tell the folks about yourself and what you may have coming up.
Yeah, I got my top play in baseball is up already on the sites over at Picks and Parlays. Find me at Twitter, Mr. Sean Higgs, and the Midday Money Show, 7 days a week.
Yeah,
and
midday.
Obviously, high noon, ready to rock.
And you do a late show too, right, Sean?
Yeah, look ahead lines. Again, put the we say notification bells because it's good to know when the show comes on. But for look ahead lines, it kind of varies a little bit. I try to get when all the lines are up for baseball and stuff, so it could be between 8 and 10 o'clock at night on a East Coast time. But once the lines are up, I like to just come in. It's short, 10, 15 minutes. I just I try not to do a lot of comments and just say, these are what I'm looking at for tomorrow. I'll do every game I'll give you my thought on, and then, talk about obviously more on the Midday Money Show the next day.
Yep. And Jesse, plug your YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, Jesse Shule Picks. I give out picks on NBA, soccer, NHL, and we're really looking forward to football season with college football and NFL.
Yep.
So come see me there.
And Jesse's videos, not only does on his own channel, but they go up at Gamblers World, is our sponsor. That's gamblersworld.com. So, and you can find Sean picksandparleys.net. His show is up there on a daily basis every day, Monday through Sunday, noon Eastern time on the early portion of his show. You heard what his description is on his late show. It's not confined to a specific time frame, but in that time parameter, folks, you don't have to catch it live. That's why they make archives. So like all our shows we do here. Until the next time, for Jesse Shule, Sean Higgs, and Ross Spencer.
Ross, you didn't tell me your site, Ross.
RBwins.com for me. RBwins.com. Thank you, Sean. My main promoter. You didn't think Jesse would remind me of that, do you? No. You know what? If it was you, he would have reminded you, because why? The man crush. Anyway.
He likes chubby guys.
I guess. RBwins.com. RBwins.com is my site, folks. 35-22 in the NBA playoffs. That includes 30-14 with my NBA sides during the postseason. 18-9 with my last 27 NBA picks. So overall in the NBA playoffs, 62%, but on a 67% run. And if I get into NBA sides, money line or point spread picks, 30-14. What are you waiting for? RBwins.com, JesseShule.com, and picksandparleys.net for Mr. Sean Higgs. Until the next time, folks, for Jesse, Sean, and Ross, we'd like to wish each and every one of you all the very best. Take care and God bless.